Is a founder and chief executive officer with Refuse to Lose. She is a public speaker specializing in personal development, coaching, communication, and leadership development. Previously, she was a women's basketball coach for many years. Please.
Thank you.
Very good.
I think it's probably best if I stand here. Miss Donna stole the show, did she not? It's going to be tough to follow that up. But good morning.
Good morning.
I know that I have the ability to achieve my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent and continuous action towards its attainment. And I here and now promise to render such action. I fully realize that no wealth or position will long endure unless it is built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all to whom it affects. I'm succeeding by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use in the cooperation of other people. I induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I eliminate hatred. I eliminate jealousy. I eliminate cynicism, anger, and fear by developing a true love for all of humanity. Because I know that a negative attitude towards others will never bring me success. I cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and believe in myself. You see, this is my creed. This is my quest to never stop striving for the top, to always keep moving forward, to always be the very best I can be, because I am the power. I am the magic. I cannot be stopped. I am a winner. I promise to always be true to myself because I am the master and creator of my universe. And I'm responsible for making a positive difference in the world and to the quality of life in it. I live in constant and never-ending improvement. That passage is from a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. My mission is to inspire the world to make adversity their advantage. Because like we've already heard, I believe adversity unattended causes stress. And I believe stress unattended causes death. And that's a major problem. And I'm not okay with it. And so my goal is to try to impact as many lives as I can, as long as I'm on this earth, to make adversity an advantage, to flip the coin on its side, to take that energy from all the stress like Miss Donna did and decide that I'm not going to be a victim. To take ownership of your own outcome. To take personal responsibility and not blame and complain and defend things that have happened and circumstances that have happened that may be out of our control. That's my mission. My goal is to do it one person at a time. One person at a time. And hopefully that person hears me and they go share the message with someone else. And before long, I've left some sort of ripple effect on this planet that lives long after I do. Today in Huntsville, Alabama, you are my people. You are one of my people, and I'm so excited to be here. I prayed for moments to get out of my network and meet new people and share this message. And so this right now for me is an answered prayer, so I'm going to enjoy every second of it. Why is this girl up here talking about adversity with all this energy and intensity and passion and purpose? Because I know it well, and it knows me. And I know all of us at some point in our lives have experienced adversity, maybe macro, maybe micro, but I think it's just a part of what we have to do to live this great human experience. But I don't think it's here to define us. I think it's here to empower us. I think it's here to put us in that state of discovery. Because adversity, I believe, is the birthplace in the innovation of change. That's what Miss Donna did. She got diagnosed and she changed. You start getting curious about how to eat better. You start getting curious, you start opening up books that you never opened. You start asking more questions. You start praying more. I don't think it's here to break us. I think it's here to really empower us, to really be that tailwind, a force to do good in the world. My journey started in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I was adopted at birth, lived the first 3 months of my life in an orphanage. Adopted by a couple from High Point, North Carolina, Jaretta Harris and Truman Harris. I don't recall them ever being together. They were divorced before, separated before I ever saw them together. Lived in the same home with both of them. So my mother raised me. My father opted out of parenting. Had no relationship with me. Doesn't probably know what my birthday is. He did show up to a high school graduation and a college graduation. And did pay child support. But doesn't have a relationship with me. My mother, whose intentions were really good, her impact was not. She was not a loving, nurturing mother. She led with fear. She was a fear-based leader. She bullied and verbally abused me and told me I wasn't pretty enough and why are you wearing that and look at your hair and picked on me in front of groups of people, embarrassed me, diminished who I was. I didn't think that I was good enough. Never heard her say I love you until I was 19 years old. So I didn't grow up in a home with love and nurturing. My mother was married 4 more times. Her second husband sexually abused me at the age of 8. At 17, I stood 25 yards from a stray bullet that took the life of one of my friends, classmate. In the same year, my best friend took his own life, committed suicide. At 21, I was robbed at gunpoint. Coming home late from work one night, gun to my face, give me everything you got. At 23, I lost my greatest gift, my grandmother, Willie Francis Seiler, to lung cancer. She was the first person I ever fell in love with. If some of you grandparents here, there's nothing like a special grandmother. And you probably think there's nothing like my grandkids. Well, at least that's what I thought. I thought she was just put on this planet to love me. And she didn't know that I wasn't getting love in my home. But I believe God always balances the scales. I lost her at the age of 23. That's a real challenge for me. Still a challenge for me. At 28, unattended stress showed up. I was arrested for driving under the influence, drove down a one-way street. Blood alcohol level almost tripled the legal limit. Stress unattended kills you. And it may kill you slow, it may kill you fast. But if you don't deal with it, it's coming. And it may come in the health, may come with you taking and adopted toxic behaviors, may come with the environment you keep, the people you keep around you. Well, that night I got arrested, it was like, no, this is not who we are. Because I think there's a part of us that knows we're better than that. I think there's a part that knows deep within. My mentor, Les Brown, who's an inspirational speaker, Les Brown says, you have greatness within you. Sometimes he gets real rowdy. He says, you got greatness within you. You better act like it. So I heard Les Brown in my ear saying, you better act like it. I got to act like it. But there was something in the way. There was something in the way. Why can't I do, I want it. I want to eat right. I want to exercise, or I want to get there. I want to stop. But why can't I? Well, because we got these things that haven't been dealt with, and they're stirring up in our spirit, and they're down in our subconscious mind, and we don't really have control over our actions beyond that because it's downloaded. We're all programmed human beings, whether you know it or not. We have programming. And I had to break some of that programming. Just like Miss Donna had to break some of that programming with what she was eating. And she went cold turkey. All this stuff right here is just, it's intense. It's intense. Green everything up here. Sends us into that discovery. I want you to raise your hand if you got dreams and goals that you want to achieve. Dreams and goals. Awesome. I love being in rooms with high achievers. People with hope that there's something greater out here for me. There's greatness within me. I want you to think about that dream and goal, and then I want you to think, do I have a strategy in place? Do I have a system in place when life punches me in the mouth? When life punches me, when grandma dies, when mom dies, when I get divorced, or I go to the doctor and they say there's something in my body that's killing me and I only have this amount of time to live. When somebody rejects me and I've applied for 15 jobs and all of them said no, are we still going? Are we still moving? So that's the thing. I think a lot of dreams and goals get left on the wayside because we get distracted by life. We get distracted by adversity. We get distracted by stresses. And we stop living on purpose. I would challenge you to make that adversity, make those stresses a part of the journey. They're in the midst of your path for a reason. They become your path now. We try to avoid them like they're not supposed to be there. They're supposed to be there. Because you awaken something deep within your spirit when you go through something and you have a challenge that you didn't have before, which makes you more equipped. And so everything I've been through, thank you, God, for it. Because I'm better equipped. I know when I walk into a room, I have nothing to fear. I know I add value to every situation because I've won those things in the past, and I'm still chasing. And no, I'm not perfect. And I wake up every day with intention. I pray to God. I shout out gratitude. I'm grateful for everything. I'm a work in progress, and I'm good with all of it. I started, the other day I didn't tell you, when I was 34, I buried my mother, diabetic, 62 years old. 62 years old. And that woke me up about eating healthier, but not like this yet. Not like this yet. But my behaviors have changed drastically since that experience. So I started studying because I wanted to survive. I didn't have any safety net. I don't have, my grandmother's passed away. My adopted dad's side, I don't know any biological relatives. My adopted dad, I don't know his family at all. He's not there. My mom, I had a torn relationship with her, spent a lot of my life hating her because of the home that I grew up in. And I was like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to rely on a man. I don't want to have to sacrifice things to please someone else. And I didn't want to be anything like her. So I was on my own. I was like, well, how are we going to do this? Watch more Oprah. It's true. That's what I did. So right out of college, I'm 24 years old, 23 years old, that window, and Oprah comes out with this DVD collection, 20 years of the Oprah Winfrey Show. It's about 6 DVDs. Anybody watch that? You have it? You own it? I mean, listen, this thing changed my life. Changed my life. So Oprah's going all this behind the scenes stuff, and she's talking through her shows and her thought process and who she is. So she starts sharing strategies. She says she journals. Let me start journaling. She says she reads about Gary Zukav and Seat of the Soul. I'm going to read that book too. Everything Oprah's going to do, I'm going to do it too. Because I learned that Oprah said when she was a little girl, she was sexually abused. That's the first person I'd ever heard say that. Because where I'm from, you don't talk about sexual abuse. And you don't talk about how many men coming in your mom's home. You don't talk about the stuff that happens in your house. What goes on in this house stays in this house. That's my mama talking. What goes on in this house stays in this house. And so I had never heard anybody talk real about things like that. And she talked about her behaviors, how, she was hard for her to have an identity around sex and men and what was happening around her. And she got pregnant when she was 14, which I didn't know. And I said, wow, Oprah Winfrey, pregnant at 14, because she didn't know what she didn't know. I thought, okay, this makes me kind of normal now. I got a chance. I'm not, because when things happen, we feel alone and isolated and the walls are closing in and we don't feel like anybody understands it. We want them to understand, but they can't understand. Why don't they get me? Well, this was somebody who was talking to me about me. And so I watched that Oprah DVD collection maybe 50 times. I mean, it's hours of film too. But I just soaked it in, and everything she said she read, I read. And then I started studying successful people, highly successful people. I want to be successful. I got no backup plan. When things come to it, I'm going to have to pay for everything, my car, my rent, wherever I live. I got nobody to help me. You are on your own. And that adversity is an advantage. Because like I tell you, you wake up something within you that says, I want to survive. And for me, I wanted more than survive. I wanted to thrive. Because I have greatness within me. So I started studying the human behavior to gain a better understanding of what was happening within me. To try to get an idea of who I was. I think that's really important. I think we don't know. We don't know who we are. We don't know how the mind works and how powerful it is. We don't know that this garbage we're buying at the grocery store is killing us. We don't know. And so disease affects the body, and it's unattended. And whether it's long time or short time, it takes us. And it ain't taking me. Because I have greatness within me. So what I learned was 7 things that I'm going to share. And I thought, I'm not a therapist. I'm not. All the data I have is my life. And the people that I've had to try to find out how they got ahead, how they found the greatness within them, the courage to get through the difficult situation, tried to just model some of the things that I was learning. I have an incredible faith and belief in God's grace. I'm just sharing what helped me. And maybe it can be something that helps you. So I created 7 laws to make adversity your advantage, to be empowered by those things that look like, whew, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. The first one was to acknowledge it. I realized that most of my problems were that I just wasn't even accepting that things happened. I was just sweeping it under the rug and acting like none of those things happened. I remember that friend that committed suicide when I was in high school. I remember telling myself out loud, you know what we'll do? We'll just pretend that we both went to different colleges and we won't see each other again. And I thought that would work. And obviously as a 17-year-old, pretty good idea. He just went off and I went off and then we won't see each other again. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. So acknowledging it, my highs, my lows, embracing it all. Understanding that it's important to make sure it's okay. It's okay that I was sexually abused. I'm okay. I'm okay. It's okay that I drank myself to sleep because I was hurting. I'm not ashamed or embarrassed by that. Just not. I'm happy that I'm standing here because I could have killed myself or someone else. Or I could still be drinking myself to sleep. So I'm okay with it. And I had to, that was a process to acknowledge that my mother wasn't a good mother. She wasn't. And that's okay. Because she was trying to do the best she could. That's all we're doing, is trying to do the best we can. And there are no perfect people, regardless of what Facebook tells you. That's where we go to be perfect. There are no perfect people. And that's okay. So I had to come to terms with it. And then law 2 was to accept it. And knowing it happened and accepting it, fully embracing myself. Like to love myself. If I don't love everything about me, I can't love you. I can try, but there's going to be some sort of limit there where I'm not going to be able to love you because I see some defects in me that I can't accept. And so I had to embrace my whole journey. I had to embrace it. And not just embrace it, grab a hold to it with some pride, just like I was doing the other things. See, I'm a former athlete. I was telling Rachel this morning on our way over here, the world and society glorifies athletes. Here in the United States of America, we make athletes like they're so, and that can be a good thing and a bad thing for the athlete. Well, the bad thing is people really liked me and gave me attention because I could dribble a basketball. The other side of that coin is nobody asked what was going on in my home. Nobody asked what's happening and, where's your mom and why are all these people in and out? My mom ended up having over 40 foster kids live in our home. So a lot of transition, a lot of people in and out and just a place of total dysfunction. But nobody stopped and said, you okay? Just wanted to make sure I scored points on Friday night when we played a crosstown rival. And for me, that was good enough because it gave me the attention and the love from other people that I desperately needed. But I realized that I wasn't accepting everything. And it was stopping me from getting that next thing I want. My dreams, the things I want to become, the things that are way over that hill that I'm reaching for, it was in the way because I wasn't accepting all of me. So that's important for loving yourself completely. Loving yourself completely. I love every single thing about me. Even the things that aren't good. I love those too. My imperfections, I love those. I try to go where I'm good. This stuff, not so good. Don't ask me to make you a grilled cheese. I can't do it. But I can speak and inspire. I'm going to do that. The third law, and this is where transformation takes place, is to rewrite it. It's where you go from being a victim to a hero. What I realized in some of my studies is that when there's a story we're telling ourselves about everything, and there are three characters in most stories. There's a victim, there's a villain, and there's a hero. And I was being a lot of victim. And I really liked that. And sometimes I was being the villain because I was being a very, very bad daughter to my mother. That anger I was having didn't allow me to treat her the way she deserved to be treated because she gave me a roof over my head. She fed me and clothed me for 18 years, but I was angry and upset because I didn't hear I love you and she was flawed. And so I was a villain and a victim. And that contradicts with the superhero inside of me. I didn't feel good. Because there's greatness within me. And why am I being so negative over here? And if I hate my mother, how much can I love other people? So I was a basketball coach for 14 years at the college level, 19 years total, a lot of my life in sport. And I was loving everybody who was involved with this sport thing. All the people who helped me get a job, or all these people who came in and helped me advance my career, and all the kids that I got to coach, and I'm loving them, I'll do whatever for you. And I'm over here treating my mom. At least that doesn't work for me. And so I had to rewrite it. And this is where I go from victim to hero, villain to hero. And I had to understand, and the more I studied and read successful people, the more I started to understand the human behavior, I started to realize that there's a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And that between the ages of 0 to 6, our conscious mind takes in information. So this is our thinking mind, information from our 5 senses. And it takes in information, but we don't have the capacity yet to reject anything. So everything I saw the first 7, 8 years of my life was just downloaded. Everything. All my thoughts about church, all your thoughts about food are downloaded. All my thoughts about men and love and sex and whatever else was in my space environment, drugs, guns, whatever it is, it's downloaded. Tones. I grew up in a home where the tone was just negative. even though we went to church all the time. Is that funny? We act one way when we get outside that house. So I had to understand this, but this liberated me. This was like, okay, so how do I change and reverse these things and create a new system of operating? Because that's what I need. So it was only download the things you want in and to manifest. Because it comes in my conscious mind, it lives in my subconscious because of repetition of information, and then what's in the subconscious becomes your actions, your results, your behaviors, who you are, your legacy, your life. And so I didn't like what was downloaded. I didn't like the anger I had. I didn't like not being able to handle rejection because my mother put me up for adoption, so she didn't like me, and my adopted mother treated me like this, so she didn't like me. So who likes me? You only like me because I dribble a basketball? I was telling myself that story. That's victim. I was being the victim, complaining, defending, blaming. No, I'm better than that. So I rewrote it. I started telling myself the story of my mom was doing the best she could, and I need to step up and honor her because that's my job. And that I have so much to offer the world, and no one person's point of view can dictate that truth. That I have to define these things for myself. These are the words of mastering my own language that I had to put down in my subconscious mind. Because I'm not going to be at the mercy of someone else's opinion and events from my past and other people's decisions or point of view. Not going to happen. I'm going to think the way I want to think. I'm going to manifest the life I want to manifest. I'm going to own my own outcome and be the hero of this story. Because one thing is certain, we're all going to die. We will all leave here. And when I leave here, it's going to be doing the things I wanted to do, going after the life I wanted to go after. And I will not have hatred or judgment towards anyone else because it is all on me. That's the life I'm going to live. So I had to rewire it and own my own outcome and be real. That's a really hard thing. Being real. Evaluating yourself. If you're blaming, complaining, and defending, I call it BCD. I used to tell my players all the time, BCD. If you're doing those things, you are automatically victim. If you are looking over to your left and right for somebody else to do something, then you are the victim. And I think it's okay to be a victim in the short term because that is a place that people who are abused, oppressed, gone through difficult things, I believe there's a time for that. What I learned about being the victim in all this adversity is that after a while, the world doesn't care. The world does not care. You know, we don't talk about every day the floods that hurt the city of Houston or the people in Puerto Rico with no electricity or the Flint water crisis or all of these things or the people who died in Las Vegas or Charlottesville, the girl who lost her life in Charlottesville riot stuff. We don't talk about that every day. It's hot news for 72 hours, and then everybody else is going about their life. You have a funeral, my mom died, 48 hours, everybody's there. Adell, you need anything? You good? You good? We'll bring over something, okay. Gone. So nobody cares because they got to live their own life because they got to raise their kids and go after their dreams and handle their adversity. We don't have time. We got to be our own, and it's not their job. That's the other thing. I had to accept the fact it's not their job. It is my job. The answers to my life are within me, not without. And that's a hard truth when you're waiting. I'm waiting for my dad to call and love me and think I'm good enough. I'm waiting for my mom to apologize for I'm waiting and I realize these guys aren't coming. Not coming. Nobody's coming to get me. I got to figure this thing out for myself. And because there's greatness within me, I will. So rewriting the story, rewiring my thinking, releasing negative downloaded information. I had to release my thoughts about my mom. I had to let that go. Hard, but I had to. And other behaviors. I had to let go of shame and guilt. That's the most embarrassing thing, getting arrested driving drunk. It's the most embarrassing thing I ever did. I was so embarrassed. talk so negatively about myself to myself. I had to switch that. You made a mistake. Move on. Release it. Adopt new behaviors. I'm a strong, healthy, fit woman. Confident. I don't handle negative situations in a toxic way that can hurt the lives of other people around me. I find other formulas and systems and ways to handle my pain and hurt and discomfort. To speak new life. Change. Law 4 is to model it. And that's what Oprah Winfrey did for me. Gave me something to model. When you can see someone else who's been through what you've been through over there achieving things, it gives you hope. That's that evidence. You can't see it for yourself yet, but I can look over there and I can tell. Miss Donna got over, she's 22 years out since they said she was going to die. That gives me hope. I know right now if anything ever happens to me regarding that, I'm going to be like, so she said the cabbage. she said cabbage. She used some big words and don't go get the sugar. That's evidence. It gives me faith. It gives me confidence that there's somebody who's already done what I want to do, whatever challenge is ahead of me. Oprah Winfrey being sexually abused. Steve Jobs is adopted. That data is important. It means those things didn't stop and get in the way and hinder. I needed that. I needed that source of assurance because I don't have mom and dad over here saying, you got it, baby. You got it. And it was detrimental for me to keep waiting for them to become those people because it just wasn't who they were. So I found people to model. I found models. I studied people who were already achieving. And I wanted to pull back the layers of their success and not look at where they are now, but say, what? How did you get over not being pretty enough? How did you have the courage to stand up and demand more money in those meetings and demand that you get this opportunity and have the courage to do those things? I want to know how you did that. And then I modeled. I think that's valuable. You got to have a blueprint. And for some of you, maybe you had great parents that you can model. You know, maybe your kids have great parents and grandparents they can model. That's vital because you are your environment. We all are. Law number 5, take your daily vitamins. So the daily vitamins, E and G. Daily vitamins E and G. These are strategies that we can implement. We can model somebody doing the right things right now. Vitamins E and G are empathy and gratitude. I needed an overdose of that. Empathy would allow me to see the human in every single person. And just because you had a title like mom didn't mean you weren't a person. Empathy allowed me to be able to put myself in other people's shoes and always look at the heart of people and love them through whatever flaws they might have. Because I believe there's greatness within all of us. And then the gratitude, the deep appreciation. Oprah said, the feeling of negativity and anger cannot exist in the same space as gratitude. And I said, well, I got a lot of negative and I got a lot of anger. So let me be thankful. And when you really deeply appreciate what you have, you look at life through all that I have, all that is good for me, all that will be good for me, and you let go of things that you think are limiting you. It's a simple strategy. I wish I would have done it earlier. So every morning, empathy and gratitude. It's a part of my daily regimen. I'm so grateful that Rachel contacted me to come be a part of this event. I'm so grateful for you guys giving me your attention, your ears, your eyes, your heart. Hopefully I say something of value that you can think and then maybe apply to your world and your life or somebody you know. I'm grateful for it all. I'm grateful for the safe travels. I'm grateful for this cold weather because it probably could be sleeting or snowing and that would have been worse. Gratitude is such a powerful thing. And empathy, nobody's perfect. and know that everybody has a story of unspoken wounds, probably because we're all living the same human experience, and they weren't able to say anything. And so they behave in that way, and that's okay. I had to get to that point. Law number 6, state your cause. State your cause. What is your definite purpose? What are you here to do? What are we here to do? That's so valuable because that's therapy. When God gifts you with talents and your unique oneness, whether it be to cook or sing, or whether it be to be a nurse or communicate information to healing or whatever you're put on this earth to do, the sooner you do it and you start executing on it and you get into your mastery mode and you start the deep work of being great at that, that's therapy. You've been given that for that reason. I was given basketball for therapy. At 8 years old, the same year I was sexually abused, my older brother wanted to try out for the middle school basketball team. And because I was his shadow and he was my first hero, I followed him around and did everything he did. I never picked up a basketball to become a full scholarship athlete at Wake Forest University, to make over $1 million in 14 years of college coaching, ever. I picked up a ball to get out my house because my house wasn't safe. And as long as I could be outside the house doing something that wasn't bad, then I was good. And I was never home. My home was a place I only wanted to go to sleep, bathe, eat some, leave. And basketball happened to be the thing that got me out the house. And then it also being the thing that gave me confidence and security as a woman, and something that I was good at, something that gave me attention from others that pat me on the back and say, "Oh, you're good." So it made some sort of contradicted to what my mom was telling me in the house about me. They're saying I'm great. You're saying. So I start questioning that. It was a gift. And when I had that gift, it opened up doors for me. It was a sense of therapy. It was my therapy as a young person. And I needed it. And I think when we all find the thing that we want to pour our heart into, that sets our soul on fire. It is not work. It's your mission. This is mission work. That's what I'm going to live my life doing, mission work, mission driven. And I don't care who pays you to do it or how you get paid or how you make a living, but you need to find out what is my definite purpose and how am I going to impact this world in a positive way? Because that will be liberating. And then the last law, 7, share it. Share it with the world. Share it with other people. I'm so happy that Ms. Donna shared that information with me. I'd never heard those things before. The authentic story. She went through something challenging. She got some answers and she's giving it away. Share it. I wish my mother would have sat down and shared it so I have a better understanding of where she was coming from. And I could better understand that I don't need to hate her. I need to see the human in her. Share. I don't care if you're a speaker. I don't care if you write a book. I don't care if it's just you sitting down with your grandkids or you talk to this group. But they need to know the truth about what's going on in their life and what's ahead. So they're not caught off guard and feel like they're alone. Nobody understands me. So they don't go and start taking opiates. Is that the thing, the drug now? Because it wasn't that. Like 2 years ago, it was something else that was really hot. Meth. I mean, people adopt behaviors to try to figure out life because they feel like they're alone. And we have sickness and disease because of this stress. And if I can just identify and relate to one person like Oprah shared with me, that gave me hope. And you don't know who your story is going to bless. And that's what we're here to do. That's loving your neighbor. It's when you're communicating that truth. And they may not ever tell you. They may not ever tell you they heard you, they understood that you helped them. But you will. Your truth will. It resonates in the world. So law 7 is share it. In closing, I want to leave you with a quote from James Baldwin, who's an American novelist. Brilliant, brilliant man. James Baldwin had a quote, and it was really in reference to the adversity of 60s, America 60s, civil rights. James Baldwin said, everything that is faced may not be able to be changed, but nothing is going to be changed unless it is faced. So everything that is faced may not be able to be changed, but nothing is going to change unless it is faced. So you think you're doing yourself a favor by denying why this happened and why this is your behavior instead of getting under it, trying to get some change so we can live longer. My mom died at 62 of diabetes. For 2.5 years, I watched her in hospital, nursing home, hospital, nursing home. I did that whole cycle with her. She refused to change. She wasn't going to change. She was stubborn. She was one of those that the nurses was like, she don't want her medicine today. I'm like, can you please go tell her to eat her? You know, that she was that. It was a matter of time before I knew this is going to kill you. This is going to be how you die. And so let's get to healing some of these things that have happened so that I can be okay and on my own outcome. I would challenge you to face it and make adversity your advantage. I'm Adell Harris. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.